Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin, and it's less than 24 hours since the 2021 Rolex releases were announced. How do we feel, guys? All right, before we start talking about the new Explorer, let me just first say, I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we can move forward. I feel mentally exhausted, like I ran a marathon around a tree, meaning for all the speculation and trying to get the drop on what Rolex was going to do, it all came down to not much. And I'm talking about all the speculation. And depending on your opinion, maybe you could say that about the new releases. Now, I've always tried to use a measure of reason and logic in trying to figure out what Rolex is going to do. And if I've learned nothing in 2021, I did learn that you really can't do that with Rolex. Because if you had told me that there was going to be a 36 millimeter Explorer, I would have said, you're crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And I made a video a while back as to why the Explorer wasn't going to go up to 41 millimeters. And I was right, but the whole logic behind that was that it would compete with the 41 millimeter Oyster Perpetual. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, they discontinued the 39 millimeter Oyster Perpetual, and again, trying to bring some reason into it, I thought it was because it competed with the soon-to-be discontinued 39 millimeter Explorer. Again, bringing logic into it, it just made sense that the 39 millimeter Explorer would continue, because if you want a 39 millimeter no-date watch, there it was, okay? Your one choice, the Explorer. It didn't compete with other models. You know, if you wanted to go bigger, you could go with the Air King or the Milgauss, even bigger, the OP41, or if you wanted to go smaller, the Oyster Perpetual 36. But now it's changed, and Rolex has reduced the size of the Explorer to 36 millimeters. Now it's competing with the Oyster Perpetual, which is kind of weird. Again, it defies logic to me, but that's what I get for trying to be logical about this. We've always heard Rolex doesn't go backwards, and I used to believe that was true, and perhaps this is one of the first times we've seen it. Now, we did lose the Pepsi configuration on the GMT when, you know, it was on the pre-ceramic, and then we lost it when we got that first generation of ceramic GMTs, and then it reappeared. I think that was more them just getting the ceramic colors right. But this is a clear example of them going backwards to 36 millimeters. And I have a feeling Rolex has never really liked the big watch trend. And I think this is perhaps Rolex saying, it's over, guys, and we're dragging you back, kicking and screaming, whether you want it or not, back to sensible sizes. And for me, the 36 millimeter size is the perfect size for the Explorer. I always liked the 36 millimeter Explorers, and that's probably the way I would have gone. But with the 39 millimeter Explorer on the market, you know, people would say, oh, that's the small size, the girly size, the 36 millimeter. And I think this is Rolex saying, no, this is perhaps the size it always should have been. And I tend to agree. Now, that's not to say I would get an Explorer. Well, I mean, if I walked into an AD tomorrow and I saw one, yes, I would. But having my choice of any of the no-date, smooth bezeled watches, I think I would probably go for an Oyster Perpetual because of the dial colors. And so that's a clear example of at least one customer, me, being led to a competing watch. Now, what does this mean for the 39 millimeter Explorers? Are they going to go up in value like crazy? Your guess is as good as mine. Now, I think if you want a good example of what might happen with the 39 millimeter Explorers, look to the 39 millimeter discontinued Oyster Perpetuals, particularly the white dial version, because that was the most popular. And so whatever that's doing, well, the discontinued 39 millimeter Explorer is probably going to go the same route. Is it going to shoot up insanely high like the discontinued Hulk? I doubt it, because the Hulk was so visually different, and really we're talking about a size difference. So I don't think we're going to see crazy premiums on the 39 millimeter soon to be discontinued Explorer, but we are going to see retailers, gray market dealers, pre-owned dealers mark up those watches pretty much overnight. But they're probably going to come down after a while to about what the white dial 39mm Oyster Perpetual is going for. All right, so let's move on to the next big thing when it comes to the Explorer. And this was a shocker for me, the two-tone Explorer. And again, to me, it defies logic because a two-tone watch, well, it's a watch you wear when you want a bit of attention. A two-tone watch definitely brings more attention to your wrist. Yet, one of the beauties of the Explorer was it's an understated watch. And so a two-tone Explorer, I mean, those two dynamics compete with each other. And again, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So you want a two-tone watch, you want to flex a bit perhaps, yet you're doing it with a 36mm Explorer. So if you're really gonna flex, don't you want a two-tone 40mm watch? Are you gonna really want to flex with that gold with a mid-sized watch? But there are a lot of women that might gravitate towards that watch. It's a perfect size for a woman. I think a 34mm is a unisex watch, and certainly I think a 36mm, and even these days women wear 40mm watches. So this is a perfect Explorer for women above all, I think. More so than guys. I think if it was a two-tone 39mm Explorer, I think that would be more something a guy would want. But again, it's shrunk in size, and that gives it a little bit more femininity. And then you've got the two-tone. So to me, those aspects contrast because, you know, it's not understated as an Explorer perhaps should be, but it's not really flexing enough to really draw in the people that want to pay for that two-tone color for the flexing purposes. So I don't know what to think about that. So there you go, guys. Two pretty big changes size-wise, and then the addition of the two-tone Explorer. We'll deal with the other models in another video or two. But let me know what you think of the Explorer, the new Explorer. For me, size-wise, I think it's gone back to perfection, but I've always said I would rather have an interesting dial color, a bright blue Oyster Perpetual, and so that's what I would go for. Okay, if I was in the market for a 36mm watch, you're going to have to make that choice, and they're going to compete with one another. So let me know what you think about this. And would any of you guys out there go for the two-tone 36mm Explorer? For me, if I'm going to go two-tone, I want a bigger watch. All right. It's a no date watch. You're getting a little bit too feminine for me. So I would much rather go 36mm two-tone, date just, or 40mm. Okay. So let me know what you think. Take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.